Yes, hi, how's it going? Welcome. Oh, one that was a terrible attempt. This time. Welcome to Calisthenics Skills with me, Ricky Stewart. We're going to do some good hand balances, a little bit of pistol squats. We're going to use a Swiss ball for a bit. If you don't have a Swiss ball to hand, it's alright. You can use a chair, a sofa, a box, just anything to lift your feet up a little bit and we'll work it out, or even without. There's loads of options. You can still follow along and we can still make it work, but we're going to go through, like always, all the prerequisites that are involved in being able to use your arms, use your legs to their full capabilities against your body weight without any weak bits. Because we strengthen up all of the extremities, your fingers, your wrists, everything gets stronger when you practice being able to control where your joints go and how to really, really own your strength and mobility. So, let's start with elbows into your ribs and just go palms up and down. And it's hard for me to kind of teach this blind because I want to be able to see what your wrists are doing and be able to fix you up and point things out and show you ways of improving it. But I've just got to trust across the internet that you are getting this and making it work. So, big circles like this. Try and find the end ranges of where your wrists could possibly go, and then we change direction, going round the other way, round the other way, round the other way. That's it. We're trying to just make your wrists move. Your elbows will want to help so bad. Your elbows will want to do this, so your palms face each other, so you can do a clap. If that happens, you've lost it. You shared the load out. Your wrists are no longer working to their full capacity. I want your wrists to burn up. I want lactic acid. You just keep slowing it down, trying to find the corners where these muscles here can control how this works. And then, let's try that with fists. So if you hold your fists out and go false grip like this, so you can see, look, I'm trying to pull my knuckles in towards my elbows and then go back into extension, knuckles in, knuckles out, knuckles in, knuckles out. Elbows locked. Trying to get these muscles here, on this side of my forearm, to be strong enough to stretch these muscles here. It makes such a difference. When you're as strong as you are mobile, that's it. Different game, different thing completely. There we go. Then, let's go for shoulder stuff. I want you to do the opposite of shrugging. So shrugging is this. If you shrug your shoulders up, feel it, neck disappears. That isn't what we're after. We're after shoulders down. Not because this is wrong, just because we're normally, for most people, in the habit of every time something's hard, we do this. But actually, if we get shoulder blades down our back, then all of these muscles that are attached to our shoulder blades, especially our big latissimus dorsi and our serratus anterior, they can grip on a bit better when shoulders are down. And then go locked elbows, shoulders forwards, shoulders back, shoulders forwards, shoulders back, locked elbows. Keep this going. See if you can irradiate a bit of strength through everywhere. That's it. Last one. Yes. And then let's go for arms overhead. So one arm at a time actually. I like it like this. So if you pick your arm up overhead and feel like you're trying to pull this arm behind your ear and let your spine go where it wants to go. And it will probably do a little rotation like this, but it will also go into a little bit of extension. Because your body's trying to share the load, trying to be efficient, which is a good thing. But you're trying to make it into a unit of strength and stability and power. So, this, imagine like a bungee cord running from the bottom of your sternum right here to the belly button, and pull that tight as the muscles in your belly come on, and all of these muscles here, your obliques and the sides of your belly turn on as well, as you pull this arm back behind here. And then pull this arm back. And see how my chest isn't rotating, and then I point my thumb down and pull back harder and bring it right back here as far as it goes. Arm goes up my back, straightens out, thumb turns around, bring it up and then bring it forwards, back to here, forwards, down and back. Your thumb points down as you come down and back. Bring this up your back, straighten out, turn it around, bring it up. There we go. Okay, let's try that on this side. I'll do it facing the camera this time so you can see a different angle. Pull it back, let your spine do what it wants. Just pull it back further, find this corner, and then bring this back. So I like bringing yourself into like a kind of a floppy end range state where your whole body joins in and maybe even your hips move and you end up doing this little back bend, but you can fix it, you can articulate out of that, pulling abs down, pulling this rib cage down sideways so that you can get upright again and drag this down and back, bring it around, bring it up behind your back, straighten out, turn up, behind your ear, down in front, and change direction, bring it up, cross your head, down and back, bring it up your back, straighten out, bring it around, and up. And try and get your arm to get really good at finding these corners and working in end range. And without force, nothing changes at cellular level. So if this looks like this, look, that isn't it, it's just, I've thrown it up, it's kind of up here, gravity lets it drop, I get the momentum and it brings it up. That isn't it, because there's no force there, there's no learning, and it's just going to float around where it always performs anyway. There's got to be something where you're persuading your body to be able to push that a little bit further, some kind of connection to these muscles around your shoulders, so that it all kind of works really hard. So just practice that with both arms. Pull your elbows towards each other and make your fists feel heavy, but fight up against it. So your fists are kind of like nose height, eye height, kind of like there. And pull your elbows towards each other. Feel shoulder blades kind of spread as you pull elbows towards each other, and then push up, and then pull your elbows back, and pull back down. Push up, pull back down, push up, pull back down. You've got to connect to all of the shoulder stuff as you come up. So if it looks like this, look, I'm a bit floppy, and I go up, back down. Look at my rib cage, joining in, sharing the load, which is great because that's how humans should move. But I want you to separate that out for a second so you can do stability here. You can push your arm strength against this stable spine, this stable rib cage. That's when you start to be able to shift your body weight around. I can make handstand push-up look easy because I'm good at that, where I like twist and push and pull all at the same time, and then it just happens. Okay, let's get into it with some body weight stuff first. So you've got your little Swiss ball here, or your sofa or something. I want you to use it for a little bit of balance. So this is quite a small one, and I'm very short as well. So you might need to like balance on one leg. So if you're balancing on your right leg, then you've got this on your left side. And then pull this knee back as far as it goes, and you're going to drop this knee down onto the floor. And the Swiss ball is here. You can roll it around to help you, so you can have it in front. Your knee touches the floor. You don't let your foot touch the floor. You spring back up, bring it back. And this Swiss ball can be here to help you in any way. So that was quite a lot of help for me. So I've got it on my left hand as it rolls forwards and back up. I'm trying to get this hip to perform. It's got to come from your glutes pushing against, same as the handstand stuff, a stable spine. So if I just balance like this, I've got my fingertips on this ball, and I bring this heel back, knee back, reach my hand forwards with this hand, reach forwards and drop my knee, and then I drive hips forwards like this and pick this knee up. And it's that kind of reciprocal motion, this knee picking up helps me drive hips forwards. It's called shrimp squat because you've got your leg up like a little shrimp, like that, like a prawn. Okay, let's do a couple more on this same leg. And you can help with whatever, as much help as you need to. Even if you've got stuff either side of you, you can almost lift yourself up, make it a dip. And it's as much as it is about this leg being able to push your body weight around, it's also about you being able to hold stability everywhere else. And I promise you it gets easier once you can breathe and tense everything and make a radiation happen so that you can get good at it. Okay, let's have a little go on this other leg. So this foot goes in front, pick this heel up and drag your knee back. Make your hamstring and your glute turn on. We drop this knee, drive this knee up. Drop this knee, drive this knee up. And it's not just coming from the hip, your knee and your ankle has to perform as well. So when you see how this works, look, as I balance, pick this up, and I drag this back, as soon as I do, this knee pops forwards and my hip drops back, and I'm sharing the load out, keeping my weight over the top of this foot. So my ankle's coming to dorsiflexion, my shins come forwards, this knee's bent, and this hip is pushed all the way back there, and then hip hinge. I've got to tense my belly hard, reach this foot forward, and drive up like that. And maybe you can get it where you don't need a little bit of help. You can drive this up. If you don't have your footprint connected to the floor, nothing happens. If that footprint is all like a little bit ambiguous, then your instep could possibly collapse and collapse and collapse as you push yourself around. So let's just go for one more set in the old shrimp squat. So we've got back to this other foot, I'll be facing you again. So this foot balances, his hand on this ball, dropping down, drive knee forward, drop down, drive knee forward. I'm trying not to let my back foot touch the floor. Let's just go for best effort in a row. So once the wheels fall off, that's it. You get a little rest. I'll do. So it gets a bit burning on the old thighs, a little bit of lactic acid, which is good. Okay, let's try this on the other side. So you balance. Let's think about your footprint as you go into this foot. Your big toe pushes and the outside edge of your foot stays connected. You drop down. Come on, left leg. Just best effort. Trying to squeeze out as many unbroken reps as you can. Let's go one more. Yes. There we go. And then we just have a little look at the mechanics of doing an actual pistol squat. So that means it gets harder again, but we'll only look at the mechanics. We're not going to do reps and sets of these. We're just going to try and work on the mobility of it. When you balance, have this leg out. It asks your hip flexor to turn on and this hip to stay stable. You reach hands forwards, sit to the bottom of this, having this hip flexor to form, keeping your footprint quality, and you drive hips through. There's a lot going on there, so if I do it on this leg, push my big toes down. As soon as my big toes lift, it puts my weight backwards. I'm going to fall over backwards. Guaranteed I'm going to fall over backwards if my big toes lift. I always need to be falling forward and catching myself on my all of my toes. And my heel stays pinned down. That's it. Drive hips through. And it's that driving through the hips. So even if that isn't in your horizon line, even if that's like really far away from the strength and having the strength and the mobility to do it, we can still work on how to get that to work, how to get all the prerequisites. And working on the prerequisites means if you have to if you go climb a mountain, you have to take lots of steps down. If you're coming down the mountain, it's always the hardest bit. It asks your knees to come over your toes, it asks a lot of your quads, it asks a lot of your calves. If we can get them to be able to perform in dorsiflexion, you might be able to help yourself be stronger walking down steep hills. So, if you sit on your heel, like this, and close up your hamstring so your knees bend as much as it can go, you belly against your thigh, and you pull your shin forwards and down, so your shin's trying to go into dorsiflexion towards the top of your foot, closing up this angle, looking for this stretch down the back of your Achilles, and stick with this. You can even help make tension in the top half of your body here by pushing your fingertips down, pushing your palms down, locking your elbows, and trying to pull the floor towards you like this. It doesn't actually, your hands don't go anywhere. You just practice pushing fingertips down, and then maybe lift your knuckles up and keep pulling this knee forwards, looking for this stretch down the back of your Achilles, and then start pushing your toes down and the outside edge of your foot down hard. Like load it up really tough, really strong. Keep holding, going 3, 2, 1, then lift the top of your foot up. So you're trying to own this mobility from tibialis anterior, this muscle on the front of your shins. You try and lift this foot up towards your shin. Keep holding, holding, holding. Going 3, 2, 1, and roll out. And just do some ankle cars and show your ankle all the different shapes that are available to it. Keep rolling this ankle around. Show the ankle how to perform, how to get into all these different shapes. That's it. And then our pistol squat becomes an expression of this ankle's mobility, which is cool. You can show yourself how much mobility and strength you've got in this ankle. Okay, try this on the other side. So you sit, heel down, pull this knee forward, keep pulling this knee forward. We're looking for stretch down the back of our Achilles. Keep holding, keep holding. So sit in this stretch. My phone's flashing something at me, telling me the battery's low or something. That's alright. 20% left, we've got loads of space. Just keep sitting in this stretch, keep sitting in it, keep sitting in it. Keep holding, holding. Then start pushing your toes down. Start loading up your toes. Push the toes down to the outside edge of your foot down. You try to spread your toes and push them down into the floor. Keep holding, keep holding, keep holding. Keep it going, keep it going. Going 3, 2, 1, then lift. Top of your foot up towards your shin. So you shin, tibialis anterior, this muscle here is on tight. You're pulling up, pulling up, pulling up. Keep holding, keep holding. Breathe a little bit. Spread your fingers, push your hands down, lift your knuckles. Keep holding, holding, holding. 3, 2, 1. Equaling out. Okay. Then, make this ankle perform. Show yourself how this ankle does ankle stuff. Slow it down, find the corners, especially the sticky bits. The bits that feel weird, like you haven't quite got control there. Keep finding them. That's it. Right, now up on your feet. So, let's go further into this leg strength and the ability to move your body weight around. And calisthenics, so much of it is finding stability in one part of your body and articulating another against that stability. So, if we can lock our glutes on in tiptoes, like this, so you're on your tiptoes, you're on the balls of your feet, push your big toes down and tense your bum as hard as you can. Stability here in your hips. Then, do a little crunch, so you get this back bend, and then this bungee rope, belly button to sternum, pulls down as this. All of the muscles around your belly, transverse abdominis, obliques, rectus abdominis, the whole thing, and we try and drop our knees down and just hold yourself here, mid-range, glutes on, toes pushing down, a little stretch here in hip flexors, and you're still doing this crunch, and see if you can drop, press back up, and drop, press back up. It's really hard. I don't expect you to get knees to floor, but I make it look like I'm weightless because I've got it down where there's no energy leakage, there's no leaking out. I'll show you what an energy leakage looks like. So if I go glutes on, tiptoes, tense my belly, drop, I've lost it, my hips have moved back, and I'm sitting down here, and as I come down, my knees onto the floor, I'm kind of staying on my tiptoes here, and I can push back up again. And that's just a really simple tiptoe squat, which is kind of helpful actually, that you've made stability in your ankles and using the muscles in your calves and your feet to keep this stability, so you can sit heels down and stand back up. It's fine. It's not wrong to squat like that. Better to squat with your feet flat on the floor if you're going to get the whole system to work well, but we demonise this, but it's actually quite a useful movement because we do it. As humans, when we reach down and grab something, very likely to go down and like be on your toes as you pick the thing up and drop your heels and pick it up, especially if it's only light. Why not practice it? But I want to see if you can, just as an expression of your mobility, stability and strength, that you can make parts of your body so strong that they don't shift when you don't want them to. Tiptoes, push your toes down, tense your bum, tense your hamstrings, so you've got stability all down this posterior chain. Do this little crunch, sternum to belly button, and maybe even reach your hands back like this, and drop your knees without letting your glutes turn off. Don't let glutes turn off, don't let them turn off, don't let them turn off. Still glutes on. Come back up. And that is it. I'm showing an expression of stability that cross-sections my body. Glutes to abs means my torso is tight, means that nothing gives, and I don't end up kind of like doing this floppy thing down here, which again isn't wrong, but that's not what we're after. I'm after this expression of stability. So, try again. You're only going as low as you can. You're not going as low as me, you're only going as low as you can, which is a different thing. Goes tiptoes, tense your bum hard, make your hamstrings on, sternum to belly button, drop a little bit, hold it here. Can you squeeze your bum harder? Can you make the hamstrings turn on? Can you drop any lower? Can you drop any lower? You might not. Get down to here, and try and lift straight up, then drop heels down. Oh, I've got a bit of a sweat on from that. It's hard, and it is that thing where you're testing your limit. You're seeing how far you can stretch and still be able to hold stability in your body. Let's try and think about that same thing as we go into these press-ups using the Swiss ball. Now, I use these a lot, I train these a lot. You might need, if you've got a spotter, if you've got someone to help you, it's in your bubble, obviously, you don't go getting too close to each other, we're still doing social distancing, obviously. You put your feet up on the ball, your toes pointing backwards. You might need someone to hold the ball so it doesn't roll out from underneath you. But if you're strong enough, you should be able to get it. Your feet go on top, you bring your palms down, like this. You walk your feet around until you find the middle of that ball, and you hold hollow body where your rib cage, sternum, pulls down to belly button. So opposite of this is this. And then do a little press up, nose to floor, push back up, and then you roll up. So your feet are standing on the ball, and roll back. Press up, roll up. Feet are standing on the ball, roll back, press up. You're trying to get your head through your arms, and try and get this ball as close to your fingers as you can. We'll go through exactly what's happening in a second. One more. Just best effort with that, as many as you can get without the wheels falling off. So, we all know hollow body now. Hollow body is when you pull your sternum to your belly button and you tuck your tailbone under, and you make all of this stuff here turn on, and you keep this nice open C shape like this in hollow body. You're holding that and you do a press up. And then as you bring your feet up onto the ball, you're making your hip flexors and your abs work in a team to get as close to compression while your hands are loaded as you can. So it might help you. Let's see if I've got this. Let's see if I can show you exactly what we're after and what we're working towards with this. I'll do it up against the wall. Come on, ball. No way. So, go up into handstand and see if I can keep shape. Drop, feet down to this L shape. It's that. It's exhausting and really hard, but I'm getting better at ignoring gravity. I'm trying to get gravity out of my head, because gravity helped me there drop my feet. Because as soon as my feet came away from my anchor point up here, where I'm upright in a handstand, as soon as my feet start dropping out, gravity starts trying to pull my feet down. I'm trying not to let gravity pull my feet down. I'm trying to pull my feet down on my own terms and hold really neatly at the waist. So let's practice this here. At being able to tense your bum, tense your hamstrings, and tense your belly. And your hips have to move back as you find hamstring stretch and then drive that through. If I hold my hands here, I can feel that my lower back doesn't bend. So if I go like this, and then I curl my spine around, I lost it. I've just curled my spine around to find this. You'll find that most people that do that keep their hips over the top of their feet, and they haven't got as far to go. But you tense your bum, tense your belly, and make this hip hinge happen really strict. Like nothing shifts in your spine because you can hold this stuff on. Then when we get to the Swiss ball press-ups, you understand what it is we're after. Don't just drag your feet up on top of that ball at all costs, because that isn't the exercise. We're trying to train the tissue, not the exercise. So, just try and get this hip hinge while your hands are loaded. So you can practice what I showed you when I did that little handstand up against the wall. Alright, so feet go up on top, we're going to do 3 sets of this. Feet go on top of the ball, bring your hands down, toes point backwards, walk your feet around until you feel the middle, and you've got it all set. Push your chest up, do the opposite of this. So if my t-shirt's scrunched up like that, I'm going to stretch that t-shirt out, tense your bum, do a press up, and then put feet up, feet back, feet up, back, press up, feet up, feet back, press up, feet up, feet back, press up. Let's go 2 more. Find this hollow body. There we go, classic dismount always. Try and get that classic dismount rather than a collapse down into a heap on the floor. So, you'll feel as you get those feet moving against the ball, your hip flexors will have to do a little bite, a little like start on. See if you can get those hip flexors to understand this lift. So if we practice that set up against the wall or set up against your sofa, just for a second, see if you can get your coccyx right up against the wall or your sofa. Bring your hands down, almost lift your bum with your hands, and then lift your feet. And you probably won't go anywhere, and that's okay, but you can feel your hip flexors grip on tight. Lift, shoulders down, and lift, shoulders down, and lift, and feel abs and hip flexors work together. Keep lifting, lifting, lifting. Hold, hold, hold. 3, 2, 1. No rest. So trying to train this stable spine, strong hip flexors, strong abs, so that you can get better compression. Once you get past that little learning like hump to get, so it's quite hard at the beginning, then you can start articulating your spine into different shapes, so that when you do a press handstand, which I can't quite do today or recently, I've had it and lost it, hadn't lost it, right over the peak of my powers, right up at the very ends of where I can possibly get to if I train really smart, really specifically, and I haven't been. So if I get compression, which is thighs to belly, hamstring stretch, bring my hands down, load my hands up, keep my elbows straight, and then I should be able to articulate my spine out of that, curl it into hollow body as my legs go wide, and then bring up. Then you've got press handstand, and we're kind of getting that bit of strength. That little start is being able to fold up in half and own it from the hip flexors, which is the hard bit. Okay, last set of these press ups. Then, so your feet go onto the ball, toes pointing backwards, hands down, walk your feet around. I try not to have too much of my shins on to start with, so if I have that ball further away, I feel a bit comfier about here. Don't let your back dip down, try and lengthen your t-shirt, and don't pick your bum up too high to begin with. Bum's about shoulder height, fingertips push down, and one press up, one press up, one press up. One more. It's exhausting. And away from what's happening in hip flexors and abs, going from here and moving your body up into this handstand from straight arms, which is your straight arm strength, which is so different from doing it bent arm. Bent arm, I've got that strength all day. I need to really practice to be able to manoeuvre my body weight from a straight arm like this. And this is kind of part of the deal. This is part of it. But let's leave that pushing strength alone for a second as we look at spinal articulation. Like I said, you've got to be able to get yourself into this hollow body. So if I just show you an example, an expression of my strength and mobility, which isn't ideal. I haven't got it at the peak of my powers today, or this week, or this month, but I'll get there again. I'm quite happy to train to get there. It's not quite happening again. You stay. So, if I go into crow pose, my spine is curled around. I can lift my feet up, point my feet up, push up, and try and find, if I get it. I'll try and bring myself through as I try and tuck my tailbone. It's so hard, but that's the articulation of my spine while my shoulders are loaded in all different ranges. It's tough. It's tough. So, you get your Swiss ball. It doesn't have to be a Swiss ball. You can use sitting on the floor. You can do it. You can sit on the end of your sofa like this and still do this. But I quite like using the shape of the ball. So if I drop my bum down towards the floor, I've got to use my feet, use my hips to keep me up. Hold your arms like this, do a crunch. And then, try and touch one vertebra at a time, back, back, back. And right now, I've still got the sternum pulling towards belly button, that little bungee roll. And then, as I find the middle of my back, I start extending backwards, and my rib cage is kind of flipping up, keeping my chin tucked. I feel this stretch out. It's still holding contraction, it's still a bungee rope. As I'm holding this, the muscles in my back are trying to squeeze myself back. So I'm contracting everything in my back to go into this back bend, and then I pull myself back up one vertebra at a time, peel back one vertebra at a time, peel up one vertebra at a time. And it's more about knowing how you're controlling your spine than it is about doing like sit-ups like this where I'm not, you can see I'm kind of in the bounce and my abs are a bit tired because I'm making you do an action. I want to be really specific about that action and specific about which vertebra I'm moving and how I'm tuning into it and learning it. You're learning to play an instrument. You're not learning how to use a blunt tool. This isn't a blunt tool. Your spine isn't like trying to paint an intricate small painting with a big fat Sharpie. It's like getting a small fine liner and drawing tiny little dots and lines and making and giving it space and understanding what you're working with, rather than making it like this big like go back, go up, go back, go up, where it's just blunt. It's not that. You're trying to control all of the stuff in your spine by like really, really getting each individual vertebra. So slow it down and get maximum voluntary contraction of this stuff all the way around. Feel it. And you can squeeze into your end range. Like try and squeeze the ball with your back as you go back, and then use this stuff to pull you back up again. Squeeze it back and squeeze it up. Squeeze it back and squeeze it up. And remember, if you're not on a Swiss ball, it's the same. It looks like this, where you sit up on your chair, on your sofa, on your bench, whatever you've got. You squeeze it down, squeeze it up, squeeze it down, squeeze it up. And because you've got maximum voluntary contraction here, your abs work. Then they do the thing, and they get good at it. But our spine's more complicated, back and forwards, we know that. So we've got to try and get this with rotation as well. So, you sit your bum down forward again. So right now it's only my coccyx really, sacrum is the only thing touching this ball. I haven't got lower back on it, it's just my sacrum. I'm doing this crunch. I want to rotate and rotate and rotate, and then lean back a little bit and rotate, lean back a little bit more until lower back starts touching the ball, then extend back, extend back, extend back. I'm just doing one rotation per vertebra. Keep nose breathing. Find this stuff. And then pull yourself up the same way. Kind of like zigzagging yourself side to side. Oh, it's exhausting. It's maybe boiling, but I want to be able to get this rotation anywhere so that you can get yourself up into handstand. You can move around. Oh, 10%. Got 10 minutes, it's all right. So you can like move your spine around and understand how to articulate it and how to get yourself up into these hard positions. So let's make this a little bit more fun then. Since we've done all of this spine work and only a little bit of actual doing press-ups and things, we're going to do, you going to stay? Cool. We're going to do a little bit of cartwheel practice, but we're not actually going to cartwheel. We're going to start right from the beginning. Even if you've got a really good cartwheel already, we're going to work on loading your hands, loading your shoulders, and being able to put all of the weight into your hands just for a second, so you get more confident at shifting your body weight around. So, I want you to stand with your feet just a little bit over hip width apart, and go into a little hamstring stretch, and then bend your knees until your hands hit the floor. I want you to jump one way and then jump the other. Hands stay set. So you jump one way, jump the other, jump one way, jump the other. You've got to try and lift your hips with the weight pushing down into your hands the whole time. Don't let that weight lift off your hands. So if it looks like this, look. That isn't it. I want to see your hands take all the weight pushing down, constantly gluing your hands down into the floor, and twisting them and lifting your knuckles at the same time as pushing your fingers. Remember last week we spoke about that, didn't we? That your fingers push and knuckles lift. Fingers push, knuckles lift. Fingers push makes this turn on, knuckles lift makes this turn on, and then twist your hands into the floor a bit as well. And you're jumping your feet from side to side. So push fingertips down, jump, jump, jump. Try and float, and try and not use any calves, so you can lift your toes up, and then lift your heels, and lift your heels, and lift your heels. That's really hard. And then we try and do that a little bit more open. So you start having your hands start over to one side, and then you pick up your feet and drop them over to the other side. Pick up your feet and drop them over to the other side. See if you can float over and feel this lift from your torso. So your feet just a little bit over hip width apart, and drop your hands down. And you need to bend your knees a bit so to get your hands to glue to the floor. All the way over, all the way over, all the way over. Just work on best effort at that. It's exhausting. And then, after you've got that, maybe you can do an on-purpose, really terrible cartwheel, where your feet don't lift up at all and you stay folded up. So, get your hands ready like this, hold them out, and you stamp this foot down, stamp the hands down, and then lift and go over to the other side. Stamp this hand down, stamp hands down, lift and go over to the side. Go again. So you stamp this foot down, stamp your hands down, lift and go to the side. So stamp, stamp, over, and go. Stamp, stamp, over, stamp, stamp, and over. And then, let's see if you can get that where you just stay open. So maybe you've got arms overhead, pick this foot up, and you stamp this foot down, stamp this hand, same hand down, and you push off this second leg to go all the way over into your cartwheel, going up and over. And then the terrible other way, so we're always better at this one way, better than the other. Stamp this foot down, stamp this hand down, and go up and over. Stamp down. And it's an expression of your spinal mobility, because you have to do a hard side bend, like this. It's obliques being able to come over to the side. So, we kind of think about that before we have another go at it. Let's try and get into this oblique side bend as best we can. Cross your arms over, go over and over, over and over. And because it's a fast movement, you kind of like have to throw yourself into it. But I don't want you to train it like that. I want you to train it like you own every millimetre of being able to shift your body weight around. And then try this with your shoulders turned on, fingers pulled back. So you're finding your wrists end range. You squeeze, 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 squeeze. You'll feel these muscles here. They're so important in your spinal movement. That is it. So squeeze, squeeze, and then pull over, and then let's go even further. You'll have done these before in a kettlebell class possibly. So you keep your feet wide, tense your bum, reach this one arm up. Keeping your bum tense, your hips need to go back like this. So if you've got this right arm up, your hips go back and right, and then you keep a little bend in both knees as you reach down and touch the floor, and you've got a straight line from fist to fist, and pick it back up. This bit contracts, but this bit pulls you back up. Contract, pull back up. Contract, pull back up, and feel this stuff. Bring this arm back, find your shoulders end range. Bring it down, back up, down, back up, down, back up, down, back up. And feel this stuff in your obliques. Okay, let's try it on this side. Pick it up, pick this arm up, and this hips have to break at the waist, so your bum goes back and out to the side. So if you've got left arm up, your hips go back and left. And reach this arm up, look up at it, keep this little bend in your knees, back up. Find this end range in your shoulder, and back up. So I quite like doing this heavy. So if you've got heavy weight in this hand, it really teaches you to get stability here. But I can get maximum voluntary contraction and teach myself it just holding this hand back and finding the stuff in my shoulder that's strong here. So really tune into it. Tense your belly, tense your bum as hips go back. Find the floor, look up this hand, pick it back up. Think about that as your hand comes down and you kind of, as you stretch here, use this spring. You've got into a stretch reflex position where this side of your stuff's lengthened, it's got to spring you back up and over. So, let's go at this. And you can do the terrible ones, which aren't terrible, I'm just being mean, but you just put your hands on the floor and you hop over, and your feet don't go over your hips. But if you're good for it, go down, and throw those legs over, and then we go the terrible other way, which I know looks rubbish. But I'm not an actual gymnast, I'm a PT that's quite happy to load my arms up, quite happy to load my shoulders up and teach you guys how to be more confident moving your body around. But I'm not a gymnast, and you can tell with this left-handed cartwheel. So, hand hits the floor, back over, like that. There we go. Okay, then let's finish off with a little bit of mobility that's got to include how you make your abs strong. So, it's always legs and arms versus spine. Let's think about that as we go into a hamstring stretch. If you go sideways onto a mirror and just coming down, hi, every 2 minutes, alright, coming down into hamstring stretch. So your spine kind of curls around, and you've got this curve in your spine, and then we try and flatten our back, bring your hands into your shins, and lift your collarbone up, and you're still in this hamstring stretch. Then see if you can tense your belly as hard as you can, and hinge at the waist, like you're pulling yourself down, a little bend in both knees, and your abs are pulling yourself down. Think about this, that gravity is helping you. You've got gravity on your side to find more hamstring stretch. What we want is for you to own this closing angle. So see if you can tense your belly, tense your hip flexors, and find more range out of this. Hold, hold, hold. And then you can curl your spine around, and maybe you can get hands to the floor, or hands to feet, or hands to ankles, or hands to hamstrings. Wherever your hands want to go is cool. As you tuck your chin, find more hamstring stretch, but tense your belly. And then bend your knees, and come down into seated. And let's just have a little go, getting our hip flexors and abs to work together. So, Sit up tall, and do the same again. Curl your spine around, maybe grab hold of feet, ankles, knees, wherever your hands want to go, and curl your spine around. Feel that stretch down your hamstrings, down your back, and that's cool. And then sit your spine up, and maybe you've got to let go of your feet as you make your spine flat. Bring your hands either side of your knees or your calves or your thighs, wherever you can reach, as far forwards as you can reach really. And see if you can just lift your feet, and hold, and hold, and hold. 3, 2, 1. Soften and stretch. And breathe. And just stretch. And that is it. We talked about being able to be as strong as you are flexible. That is it. Your hip flexors, being as strong as your hamstrings are mobile, will open up a whole new range of mobility for you. Keep tuning in, keep letting me know what you've got going on. I'm back again at 10 AM tomorrow for senior yoga. You don't have to be senior to join in senior yoga. It just means I'm not going to put you into any positions like today doing handstands and doing cartwheels and stuff. There's going to be none of that, obviously, in senior yoga. Going to keep you nice and safe, but that doesn't mean it's not hard work, because force is the language of cells. Nothing changes in our body without it, without a little bit of a push, a little bit of a pull, a little bit of persuasion against your body. All right, thank you so much. I appreciate you all. I will see you tomorrow at 10 AM for senior yoga. See you there. Bye.